Hello and welcome to Championship Sunday. We're here in Richmond for the Spikeball Tour Series. I'm Ben Dantowitz with Ali Rogers, and we are about to jump into the Pro Division Finals matchup.
Yeah, this is a match that we are eagerly awaiting. We have four very talented players out here. We have Joe Bondi and Garrett Hornock versus Double Clutch, Rahul Murthy and Frederick Hinkle.
Yeah, going to take an extra minute just to go through some of the road to the finals both teams have gone through today. All this information is live on fuego.io on the website, but I'm going to just let you guys know where Double Clutch came from. Of course, starting back in round 16, they were preceded, the overall 1 seed coming out of Pool A, so they did get the 1 seed overall, and they won 21-11, 21-9 in the round of 16 before matching up with a really tough team in Low Key, where they did drop a game. They went 21-15, 22-20, 21-17. And I'm interested to see, they hadn't dropped a game many times before the finals matchups on stream in Chicago. So for the record, that's their 4th game they've lost all year between Seattle, Chicago, and now Richmond.
Yeah.
I think that's unbelievable.
It is.
We're in the semifinals. They really just handled Warren Foote and Ryan Oswald. They won 21-10, 21-15. So we talked a little bit earlier about how Bondi and Hornock had only dropped that 1 game in the semis this weekend. Talk about losing only 4 games all year in 3 tournaments at this level of play is not believable.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. We have 2 teams that haven't experienced much loss. Obviously, Double Clutch's record is a little bit deeper. But yeah, so Double Clutch is a long-term team. They're planning to play nationals together, I believe, versus Bondi and Hornock are a mashup team. So
yeah, both just trying to put their stamp on the sport against, we talked about Gabe Vidaki and As Powers being such good players in that semifinal. They really made a big statement coming back after dropping game 1, 21-13 to go win 21-19, 21-19 in games 2 and 3, the same score. So that was fantastic. Just wanted to make note that their route to the finals for Smoothies was anything but easy, despite only dropping 1 game to Funaki Powers. They had to match up against Grant Clapwick and Ryan Gross in the round of 16. 2 really strong players. They were on fire. They won that matchup 21-15, 21-9, Ali.
Oh my word. I can't
At that level of play, just everything must be clicking in that matchup. And against Outside Smoke in the round of 8, they also had a really strong showing. They won 21-13, 21-19. So for a team like Double Clutch, which won Seattle, if you remember, back in July without losing more than 16 points in any game, and looking at a team like Smoothies that has had a ton of success just blowing teams out of the water, something's going to have to give. I'm really excited to see where that lands, where the equilibrium is between these 2 teams.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think will be the most dominant factor in this game? Whether serving, defense, recovery sets, that we've seen earlier today?
Yeah, I think it's that battle of applying the pressure on the serving and that dynamic between the serves and the recovery sets. I think those 2 things in particular. Obviously, in round 8, you need to do everything really well, but to key in on a couple things for Hornock and Bondi, they're serving now to players who are a little bit shorter. And it's a mental thing that actually Gabe Funaki talked about after he and Travis beat them as sloppy seconds in Chicago.
Yeah.
Gabe Funaki was saying when we talked after that matchup that if he just hits his serves, all these players are capable of hitting the ball shin high, knee high on any player. And just thinking about that and just hitting your serve instead of worrying that you need to hit the ball really low could be the difference between rolling up too many serves because you're overthinking it and those no-touch aces that we saw from Bondi and Hornock. Of course, haven't seen Rahul and Frederick on stream today, but you should be very familiar with them. They hit the ball really hard, and they're very dangerous. And the only thing I have to note, Ali, on top of that for this matchup is I talked to Frederick after semis. He said he found his reverse cut serve. I don't know if the other team is aware of that, but that's going to be a big threat as he drops the second one in play here for the first point. Hinkle playing so far off the net there, he's got plenty of time to react and pushes that one through for a quick first break. We've had a lot of first point breaks in our games today.
Yeah, we have. And I love that. It's so fun to see a rally during the first point. Here we see Hornock with just kind of a standard hit toward Frederick Hinkle. And maybe that's because they're both from Texas. Maybe they play a lot of pickup together, and Hinkle was able to predict where the hit was going to go. But
yeah, definitely has some familiarity. As we said, 3 of these players on that Texas players, all part of the elite squad from Texas. That's Lone Star Round Net. Joe Bondi, the lone Virginian, trying to defend the home turf here in Richmond.
Exactly. Yeah, Texas has made a massive climb this year, just meaning that Texas players have made a name for themselves.
Yeah, as a state alone, Texas has hands down more pro bids than any other state in the country, and I think the Southeast region If not by today, after today, they'll have a pretty comfortable margin. No matter who wins this matchup, there's going to be another Texas Pro bid owned by a Texas player. As Rahul wants to own a different spike ball for his serve. That one might have just clipped rim.
Yeah, it looks like the players agree. That serve hit rim. And so did that one.
And all these players have that serving potential. You know you want to play those rim serves if they're up in the air if you can get that first touch in time. I just love when they do what I'm talking about.
Jeez.
That second serve is just so scary.
Yep. Yeah, that was an absolute rip of potentially
Check
a
out this
reverse cut.
angle. Oh. He's got a little high on Hinkle.
Drop serve from Hornok. Bondi
Gets a touch from Bondi.
Far off the net.
And the observer signals the active carry call. So it was a little off frame, but basically what happened there was Bondi kind of curled his hand as he was trying to dig around the ball, and he kind of rolled off his fingertips. So that's going to be no good. But yeah, taking a look back at this really cool angle from the reverse cut by Garrett Hornock, just Murphy waving at it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really tough adjustment to make when you're expecting a cut serve to your right hand, potentially something that you'd have to reach or jump to the right for, and then the serve jumps back to the left hand.
Yeah, Hinkle tried to find that reverse cut there. It lipped up a little too high though, so it's going to be another serve here for Bondi. Now 4-3, Bondi Hornock. Big lefty serve attempt, no dice.
Second serve from Bondi. Looks like he goes for a reverse cut, which is, yeah, maybe a lower percentage landing serve. So I would guess that he was probably going for an ace or a really challenging serve versus one that would put the ball in the net and give them a defensive opportunity.
Yeah, not a lot of room for put-on serves at this level.
Yeah, that's true. That's true when offense is just so strong and consistent.
Yeah, Murthy with a nice serve there. Bondi wondering if it's high. Checking with the observers for an angle. And signaling a redo on the high call. May not have had a conclusive view, or maybe two equally good views from observers. One with a clear perspective of high, one with a clear perspective of good. Either way, very bang, so a replay. It's another touch, but it's just a little bit lower for Murthy.
Hey man, all I'm saying is ball don't lie. Sorry.
Murthy, usually a pretty humble, soft-spoken guy. They're not sure if the field might picks it up, but he says there, ball don't lie. Trying to just maybe get in the opponent's heads a bit.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. That's pretty bold.
Murthy kind of paused there. They interrupt the serve. That serve did not count. I think he said not even numbers when he was trying to say the score. He kind of laughed at himself about it. Still keeps the composure, puts in a good serve.
Yeah, and people kind of talk really highly of height when it comes to round net. Because, yeah, you have more height equals more variety, more things you can do. But we see pretty different variation here. Between one team, we have pretty tall guys.
Yeah.
On the other side, we have shorter guys. And at the same time, you're seeing some of the strongest, fastest serves from Rahul Murthy and Frederick Hinkle, who are on the shorter scale of elite round net players.
Absolutely. Without being too versed in all the different physics of it, of course, you've got the longer angles you can reach around for both hitting and serving if you're taller. But if you're smaller, it's maybe a little bit easier to get low around the net and keep the ball low. And the same thing for your serves, your natural motions as Murthy reaches around.
Oh my word! That
and he has no problem getting across the net.
Oh yeah. You can watch that in the replay here. That's beautiful.
A great diving set from Hinkle, and then Murthy after the sweet set from Hinkle. Just hops across the no-hit zone. Check him regaining his balance. Just elite athleticism out of him.
Right. If you can't tell already, I believe Hinkle comes from a baseball background, and you can kind of see that in his layout form. Just his ability to get his lower body higher than his. Yeah, it's just a beautiful layout. Flat to the ground and obviously delivered on the set.
And Murthy, a former tennis player, you see him maybe ranging instead of from side to side on a baseline. He's getting around that no-hit zone really quickly with that agility. So these players now full-on rounded athletes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Displaying they've got some good origins. Murthy pops it up with the little soccer kick.
Yeah.
He can play everything. Bondi puts that, almost hits Hornock,
Yeah.
but it's a no-touch ace on Murthy. You know, that length that you might want to have to reach out for those wide serves.
Right, yeah, that's where the height might come in handy, is having,
Being able to get Joe Bondi's receives.
Joe Bondi's wingspan, everything would be a little bit handy
He's
when
putting
you're
those
going
serves,
for a wide
he's putting those
serve.
serves too wide for Murthy, though.
Yeah.
That one rolls high above Hinkle. That reverse cut. Yeah, so maybe a little bit of that pep talk from Funaki, making sure to not worry about the height and just keep the ball low. Hit those serves that you can.
Right, and that reverse cut, like you can watch it now and just see, it doesn't look that complicated, maybe just a little twist of the wrist, but that's something that these players probably spent months developing. It's no easy feat.
They're making it look easy, but do not take for granted how hard that is. And even on the receiving side, these guys are great at receiving serves, and they just look dumbfounded when the serve lands that well.
Yeah. Yeah, it
So
looks
8-7
like
here. Little check with observers, they're signaling clean, so it's 9-7 now. Quite a run here from Bondi.
right, and this is the lead that maybe people weren't really expecting. I think myself, I was more so expecting Double Clutch to come in and kind of handle the game.
Yeah, usually the established team. Hinkle, I think, calling rim on that one. Double checking if that was near net or rim.
Yeah, it looks like there's a little tension between players, which I kind of enjoy seeing. It's a good rivalry.
As long as it's not within their own team, just
Yeah,
across
that's
team.
True. It's true.
Keeping it lively, competitive.
Yeah, it's good for the game. Murthy to serve.
Nice reverse cut there. Murthy gets a deflection. And part of that rivalry, of course, too, as you mentioned, with Hinkle being able to dig Hornock, is Hornock and Hinkle and Murthy. They're all buds. They're all from Texas. They train together. They've played a lot of games together. They played a lot of local events. So that local rivalry bearing out in this Tour Stop finals.
Yep. Wow,
So
resulting
maybe as a carry there on the receive from Murthy. Ball gets kind of stuck in his hand. Not sure what Hinkle thought there, but
yeah, now
that point was over.
11-8. Now 12-8.
11-8 for just a moment.
Quickly. Yeah. Man, strong serves all around from Hornock, and looks like potentially both team members, Hornock and Bondi, getting touches on that last hit, but not enough to put it in play, not enough to bring it back to the net.
First serve rolls up. Bondi choosing to play it wisely. A little deflection off Murthy. Get the hold. And Hinkle paused a moment thinking maybe high, but signals with that flat palm. It's a clean serve. No touch ace. You saw him maybe shift his weight left for a moment, wondering if it was going to be a reverse cut, and then just gets beat completely to the right. It's just too hard for Bondi when he's on with all of his serves.
Yeah. There's so much variety, so many options. As a receiver, you're just kind of trying to mitigate the options.
Yeah, when you have that split second, we were saying you can only maybe take away one thing.
Yeah.
And if the server is able to hit multiple things in that moment, if they're on, you just have to shake your head.
Right. If you stand in the center of the net to receive and know that the server can hit a serve that goes 6 or 7 feet to your right and the same to your left, you've got to make some guesses.
Yeah. Sometimes players might come in a little closer on the circle to cut off angles better, but then you're just testing a reaction time, and these balls are coming in too fast to really cheat in any further than they already are. So Hornock puts that over Hinkle's shoulder. Goes between the legs on the prep, and it pays off with a good reverse cut.
That's
that pre-serve routine.
Wow, Bondi and Hornock. Looks like they are up 16-11. Potentially going for another break here. There's a rim.
Bondi's smiling back at Hornock. He knows he just got a couple breaks, and he knows that that rim was a near miss on another great serve.
Wow. Okay, and there's another good use of
This
Bondi's
fantastic recovery
length.
set, yeah.
Yeah, and just skill set all around. You saw him completely reach out as wide as possible in order to receive that serve, and then, yeah, that was a strong play to get that ball in the net and so far away.
The wind's come into play now, too, for these touches. Making those sets and hits that much more impressive.
Right.
What a recovery. It looked like it was a defensive conversion, but it was actually just receiving a lefty serve from Joe Bondi.
Yeah, that's such a good point. Yeah, Bondi's lefty serve made for such a challenge that you're right. It did look like a defensive up and that sort of less comfortable conversion of point.
This Murthy makes Hornock uncomfortable. Oh, Hinkle thinks carry. Hornock thinks clean. And check with his server on that touch. It was on his left hand for that reverse cut serve. It's definitely a challenging angle. See what the perspectives are here from the observing squad.
Yeah, Ben, can you explain a little bit of what a carry looks like?
Hard to know exactly what it looks like, but generally speaking, it's when the ball is on your hand for longer than it should be. Whether that's because you're moving your hand too slowly through it, or if you're maybe changing the angle at which you're striking the ball. So if you strike the ball and your hand's flat, and then you turn your hand to the side, and then your hand's still touching the ball, you're probably like throwing or catching the ball.
Right.
The official wording of that is in the Spikeball official rule set online. I think the International Roundnet Federation also just dropped their drafted rules. So if they change any of the wording there, they might have some different thoughts. Speaking of thoughts, though, Hornock trying to slide in there, a different idea there on defense to cover some angles.
Right.
Trying to save this hold. As you
Look
see,
at that up from Murthy.
you see Murthy look really comfortable at the net. You know he's wearing probably some Pair of Thieves feel that comfortable. Pair of Thieves, one of our Tour Series sponsors, and Hornock anything but as he slides in on that replay.
Yeah, Pair of Thieves makes comfortable underwear, comfortable socks.
Yeah, the comfy under stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Everything you need for those aces and defensive ups.
Yeah, and a pretty good recovery set from Bondi. It's just coming in. He's taking that set above his shoulder.
Yep.
And what that means is the way that Hornock's tracking the ball back to net is a little bit harder to see. Just misses the timing, finding a hand to ball, and ball looks like it has no shot of going on the net. That's just a missed hit, bit of a hitting error.
Rahul to serve.
Yeah, now within two, though. 15-17 after being down more than a handful of points. Frederick and Rahul thinking it's good. Want to check with observers for a perspective on the high or not high call. Joe Bondi is a tall guy. He's not 7'9" like Peter John Showalter, but he is very tall.
Yeah.
He's tall enough for that to be clean.
Yeah. Yeah, so the observers helped clarify that situation. That serve was ruled clean, and that was a nice serve.
Yeah, just for those wondering the exact high rule, it's if the ball passes completely above the shoulder, then it's a fault. A little bit of chatter at the net there, not sure what about, but probably just some good old Texas rivalries going on.
Yeah.
We would ask eventually. Wait, hold on. You didn't ask us anything to say. Wait, whoa, it's first serve. No, you didn't make a call. Wait. But it's first serve. Wait, but we would have asked anything. We were going to go to you. Yeah. Because he just said we would have had time to.
A couple of discussions about what's going on.
Yeah, I think the discussion might be about the timing of when a call was made.
I see.
But like actually.
Yeah, and so with a little bit of confusion there, understandably some frustration might come in, and that chippiness, unfortunately, it only goes in one direction when there's a little bit of confusion and frustration, and it's hot and it's competitive. But Murthy channels that really well into that serve. You see him whip it hard.
He did rip it hard.
And we talked about it earlier, how Hornock doesn't really have the left hand. Actually, all the Texas players in that don't really like to use their left hands. And so Hornock uncomfortable there. Hitting error. Now it's tie game.
Yeah, is this a known thing about Texas players that there may be some weak left hands?
I mean, unless you're Matthew Burrows, who is left-handed dominant, or maybe only give some credit to Luke Marshall, I know, is among the players at the top level serving left-handed. But otherwise, a lot of those players have fantastic reverse cuts and cuts, and they just don't need too much more than that.
Yeah, I think it sounds right. I haven't seen much of that, but today I think what I'm seeing aligns with what you're saying.
And to that point, it's also a credit to those players, right? Is that they're so good with their serve receives. Obviously, these are left-handed serve receives, but they're so good with their serve receives and then their touch on their sets. They can set each other up for success with those dominant hands time and time again.
Yeah.
And they use their feet well to run and move to the spots where they can hit those forehands and backhands all with their dominant hands. So stylistically, players play different ways where they maybe train both hands up one way or the other, train a backhand instead of an offhand, but either way, these are all top talents in the sport.
Yeah.
There's no question about that part of it.
Yeah, that is so true. Right, score check back to 18-17.
For now, after that double fault might be 18s as Murthy gets a touch and Hinkle has the far set and he puts it for the side pocket. It's high. Hinkle dives yet again. And a lefty of all things puts it away from Murthy.
Man, Murthy could
But
not prove that statement wrong about the left hands.
Murthy's hat falls in the no-hit zone. A little discussion on the ruling of whether no-hit zones are legal or not. A little bit of a clarification. Earlier in the year, for those of you who remember, Clark Marshall playing in Garland, his hat fell into the no-hit zone during a point and it cost him the point. In this situation, the no-hit zone is, I believe, no longer considered part of it. I think the observers are gathering to make sure they've got the right reading of the rules. Among them, my brother Ezra Antowitz is part of the current Spikeball Tour Series board helping set rules, so should have the right verbiage on there to compare things to.
Yeah, but yeah, I think
it's weird.
It is weird.
So to try to give a breakdown, do you want to break down like the set contact versus the no-hit zone?
Yeah, absolutely. So if a player touches the set at any point, that's the end of the point. It's a
Right.
loss of point. Versus the no-hit zone is the circle you see around the set, and essentially, in my simplest terms, you can't start or end your hit with any part of your body inside the no-hit zone. So that's why you see players kind of scooting their feet all around the hit zone, trying to lower their body toward the net to try to get power to yeet the ball off the net and score that point.
And I believe Murthy's hat fell off while he was getting that first touch.
Exactly.
So it wasn't part of his hit, but I think another thing that's important and worth noting on top of that is if your hat falls on the net, that would be a loss of point or violation.
Exactly, yes.
You're responsible for anything that might touch the net, whereas the no-hit zone, since you can go in and out for non-hitting actions, you don't get penalized the same way for hats falling into the no-hit zone.
Yep.
So some really fine lines. And speaking of fine lines,
oh my word,
Murthy tries to recover for Hinkle, who dives back to net, but wow, it's not enough, and Bondi gets them back up the lead here now, 2019.
Yeah.
Advantage Bondi Hornock. Double clutch needs to epitomize their name right now.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Serve and receive. Man, this game is not short of athleticism.
Bondi lining up the game point here, 2019.
Strong cut serve. Good set. Face
Touch
up.
off the face and a backhand put away for Hornock. Sensational.
Oh my word, it does not get better than that.
I rarely see Frederick Hinkle all smiles after losing a game 21-19, but he knows he was just part of a special moment or two there. Wow, oh wow.
Look at this, off the chin, I believe.
And that effort to evade the no-hit zone, you see him falling across and forward.
Yep.
Might watch it one more time here from our alternate camera angle. Look at this. Rolls up off the face, and he just dives left to stay out of there. Whew.
Wow, this has been so far so entertaining. Game one looked so good. We have athleticism all around. Murthy and Hinkle diving everywhere, making plays happen when you think they might be dead. And yeah, Bondi and Hornock just secured the win right there. That's huge.
And if they can keep things up and rolling in game two, they would really affirm their respective statuses as top players, in that top 5, maybe even top player conversation coming up against the number 3 team in the country. Remember, Bondi and Hornock have only dropped 1 game all weekend still.
Right.
So if they can keep that together and close the series out in 2, that would be an incredible statement in this very crowded pro field.
Yeah, and what do you think about the fact that Bondi and Hornock are a mashup team playing a secure team that's playing for the season? Is that any more difficult for a mashup team to be a team that's secure?
Yeah, obviously they've had a lot of games, and over the weekend they've had mostly success, but for them figuring out maybe their exact defensive system and getting those touches. You saw those fantastic plays at the end there to close it out. Those are coming off of, you know, a weekend of learning each other and playing with each other. Both have maybe played against each other a little bit in the past, so you maybe know their tendencies. But overall, it's a little bit of a disadvantage, if anything. Of course, the way they're serving, it seems to be quite an asset to them in winning. What do you think the double clutch needs to change to turn the series around and force a game 3?
That's a great question. The first thing that pops into my head is first touches. I think that Bondi and Hornock were putting on some strong serves, but I think that Hinkle and Murphy can do better on the first touch. I think that their first touch can be closer to the set and no hit zone, which will lead to an easier set instead of a recovery set.
Right. They don't want to look like they're receiving a spike on the serve. They should look a little more in system than that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't want to diss them in any way. They are looking really clean, really good, but I do see that as one place for improvement.
And especially after being down, you know, some credit to them for getting back to 19. They were up 19-18 there before losing 21-19.
Yeah,
so
you're right.
The fact that they were down 4, 5, 6 points in the middle stretch of the game and they battled back was unbelievable in its own right. They just need to do it and win and play from ahead instead of playing from behind.
Yes.
That could be the difference, just running out of room.
Yeah, exactly. And if I know anything about double clutch, it's that they're clutch. So I'm expecting to see a little bit more fire, a little bit more desire, if I catch on to your rhyming that you used earlier. And yeah,
By all means,
I think
love
I
it.
would. Yeah, I'm still ready to see a double clutch win here. But yeah, they need to change some stuff in order to make that happen.
Yeah, another just dynamic I'm curious to see on top of whether they can put it all together is if that pause and you know, a lot of that fire and tension at the end of that first game with a couple of close calls, or maybe get a, you know, spill into game 2, or right away we see a high call there.
Right away.
So they're already answering my question, but I'm curious how chippy things may stay, or if it's going to escalate, or if things will be a little more level for game 2.
Right.
What that means for their play.
Yeah, I think we saw a little self-control right there from Hinkle, who kind of signaled a high call on the serve, meaning the serve was over his shoulders and illegal, but then immediately retracted that call and kind of gave the clean call. Respect to Bondi and how good that serve was.
And the high call is such a tricky one. It's so real time, it's so fast. So sometimes what might happen is you're thinking, oh, I think that was bad, and then you have another second to pause and think, actually, we don't need to go to observers. Like, you're right. Like this is a good call. This is a good serve. So some great self-officiation.
Yep.
And some great serves too.
Yes, that serve was so fast. That was just so fast. It was also wide, but yeah, incredible serving from both teams in the first 3 points of the game. That serve pockets up. Kind of an example of what we were just explaining of a high serve that was well over Hornock's shoulder, meaning it was a second fault. Beautiful touch. Off the net
What
spike.
an on from Hornock. Some great off-net hitting. And a no hit zone violation there. Murphy trying to jump around the left side of the net there. So we see a nice recovery set and really recovery hit from Hornock.
Yeah.
But as Murphy comes back to net, he does leap from the no hit zone. Watch here, he jumps from the front side, and his left foot there, just as he jumps to make the hit, is already inside the no hit zone. So not only does he have to jump and clear, but he didn't even start from outside. So that is going to be bad every single time.
Yeah, that was a beautiful rally, though. We saw a handful of really beautiful touches that led to a really entertaining play.
Yeah, that reverse cut that Frederick said he had been finding not enough pressure on Hornock as he steps right through that.
Yep. Bondi to serve.
And just pulls that clean past Hinkle, not Hinkle, excuse me, Murphy, who's left on his, off his feet.
Yeah,
Maybe crossed up a little bit by the fakes.
Probably. So Bondi and Hornock with an early lead, looking to secure this. Wow, looking to secure the tournament.
Yeah. Bondi there sells the lefty fake, but can't deliver on the drop. It hits the net twice.
He's smiling about it. He knows it was so close to being such a clean ace.
But a great sequence there. Even feeling good about just the pressure, knowing he's got Frederick Hinkle on skates, running left. Murthy's been saying this about Gabe actually in the semifinals for Naki, that is. Relatively quiet for his standards. It's someone who can really take over a game. Needs to get more than just 1 or 2 aces per game to keep up with the pace that Bondi and Hornock are setting. But well handled by Hornock.
Go, 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 go!
And Rahul Murthy just stuck on the net there. It's a hard choice where, you know, the stay or go.
Yeah, it looks like Murthy's kind of all around committed to close-up body defense. And we've seen that rewarded. He's gotten a couple really nice touches. But in that scenario, Hornock hit a gettable hit over top of his head. And if Murthy hadn't been so committed to body defense, he might have been able to turn around and get a really good touch on that.
Yeah, that first serve by Hornock just above Murthy's shoulders. Not a lot of pro players that would be high on. But Murthy benefits from that. Joe Bondi with the first touch there on the left hand. Not clean, ruled a carry. So Hinkle will serve again. Murthy giving everything here. They know they need this game.
They do. Yeah, absolutely. Bondi to serve. Looks like Murthy once again is receiving or planning to receive that serve from a really low stance.
Yeah, that one rolled up just a bit. The language around high, not high for the shoulder height is it's an athletic stance, but the athletic stance is defined as your knees being slightly bent. So you're not allowed to squat down to like a catcher's stance and make your strike zone only 2 feet high.
Are you allowed to lie on the ground?
Or do that, yeah. I think when the rule was proposed initially, there were some concerns that people were going to lie down on the ground. So they had to define loosely what an athletic stance is, which is just, your feet are about shoulder width apart, knees slightly bent.
Right.
And for those of you who ever were in a physical education class, it's probably what you were taught as an athletic stance. So that seems about reasonable to me that
I think so too.
the lesson we learned back in grade school applies to the sport and not lying on the ground. But Hinkle sneaks around Bondi to find that backhand flick and then bowls the shot. Hinkle, a very talented bowler as well.
Yeah.
Not sure how much competitive experience he has, but
let's see it again.
Known to put up scores well into the 200-somethings.
Yeah, and I think Bondi is probably used to faking people out with hits like that.
Yeah, getting away with that cheeky drop.
Exactly. People are just expecting a stronger hit from him and leave that space open. But in that case, Hinkle was, he was just ready. He wanted it.
Yeah, Wise just sneaking around the back line, playing as that blind defender. Blind being the opponent can't see him.
Yep, because he snuck around Bondi's back. Yeah, and then he was there for the hit that Bondi thought nobody was there for.
Yeah, I guess the hiding defender maybe, where he's actually hiding on purpose.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good strategy.
Even the best players can't see behind themselves. But
yeah.
The best players do usually make those hits. A little hitting error from Murthy.
Yeah, I did see the set a little bit, maybe just a little bit outside the rim.
A little uncomfortable, sure.
So maybe not Murthy's ideal set, but still, I don't think it should be a miss.
Yeah, but that was a big deal because it did give the lead back to Bondi and Hornock.
Exactly.
This do or die game 2 for double clutch. We're at 9 apiece. And that serve is handled just well enough. And Bondi sets Hornock clean to just send it high and far.
Exactly.
So those sets where Murthy is, I guess it's Hornock knows that Murthy's committed to the short defense, right? It's one thing to maybe sometimes flash at the net and be really close to net, but Hornock knows that if he goes over Murthy's not ever going to turn his shoulder and drop back.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think Hinkle is kind of, his goal is to cover everything off the net. So while Murthy is playing close-up defense, Hinkle is,
right.
He's right there sprinting everywhere, trying to get anything that's further away.
Yeah, you see number 11 on Joe Bondi's jersey. Nice little Vii Apparel Co jersey. Their score also 11 now here, up to 11-9 that is. Little maybe miscommunication there, I'm not sure. He was about to toss and then faked and stopped. So this might be a second serve, but it's a good one anyway.
And that was a beautiful serve receive. That's kind of like what I was talking about earlier that
Yeah.
I think double clutch really needs. They need that receive right over the net so
They
that
need-
the set is simple and the hit is simple.
They need to make it look easy, and they certainly did
Exactly.
there. If you're stressing about the serve receives, then you don't have enough time to stress about playing defense, about
Yeah.
making your big time serves here for Murthy. That's where their energy needs to be, as it's a reverse cut, no
Jeez.
touch.
Talk about energy. That changes the game right there. Wow.
And I think the observers just signaled that they need to collect some balls, not making any kind of call, I don't think.
Let's watch this again.
Yeah, it's a tricky thing where Murthy's actually stepping out, and usually when players step out to pivot, it signals they're probably trying to get the ball wider to the opponent's right hand, because if they step right, they want to hit to the opponent's right. So Murthy steps out right and hits it to your left. That has you all kinds of dizzy.
Yep, exactly.
Tie ball game now.
Yeah, you can see Murthy's a little disappointed with that double fault, but I'm sure he's not disappointed with the serve right before. That was absolutely disgusting. No touch, clean ace, I think.
Yeah, double clutch, no touch.
Double clutch, no touch.
Little reverse cut there. It's on the side pocket, though. So, again, you can't have that pocket assisting the movement side to side. Then it needs to be with or it can't be with the net. It can be against it or neutral to the net. As Hinkle, you actually see Hinkle line up his feet in an interesting position where he's almost showing he's going to hit a backhand no matter what,
Yeah.
instead of moving to maybe threaten a potential forehand through the gap. But
Yeah, I think he was probably optimizing his power, and he did
yeah,
that well.
just loading very early.
Mm-hmm.
Double clutch, looking to get the lead back. Haven't had it for a short spell. Nice little jam serve, but well handled. Hornock sends it into the tent, and
I'm all over it.
yeah, Hinkle wants to call a hinder there. You see him slow up.
Yeah, I love the confidence right there.
He
So
does.
the ball was sent so far off the net, but still,
Yeah.
he was so quick that he got there, and that's called a hinder. So
Yeah.
it's a redo.
Yeah, just prioritizing player safety. Love that. No
Yeah.
contention though. Just a
No,
Hinkle demonstrated he had. I think the word is you have to have a good play on the ball.
Yeah.
That's such a bad swing.
He had a good play before, but that was a bad serve. He said.
Yeah, and he's right. It was a bad serve. It's a double fault.
Double clutch with a double fault. That doesn't roll off the tongue as much as double clutch, no touch. And speaking of no touch, that's just a clean ace. A little bit of a fingertip maybe on
Yeah.
Murthy.
Yeah, I think what I'm seeing is potentially Murthy planting his feet a little bit too soon, and when the ball jumps wider than he expects it to, he's just not ready for it because he planted so early.
It's a hard game of like giving up your balance or giving up that ability to move side to side.
Yeah.
Staying on your toes once you plant those heels. That's your literal last stand. You can't be standing anywhere else.
Right.
Double fault there. Observers are waiting for Raul Murthy to look at them.
Very good.
So
Right.
down one again here for
Yeah.
Murthy. Need to get back in this one.
They do.
Starting to run out of time. It is a game to 21, win by 2.
Hinkle's complimenting Murthy's swing. I think they both know that Murthy is right there. Yeah. So we kind of saw opposite errors there. Murthy probably going for the same serve on both of those faults, but the first one hit a bit too close to him, hit front rim, and the first one hit a bit too far. So maybe one of these times.
Great reverse touch.
Yeah.
Hinkle gives chase. He's just not able to make a clean touch there. And that's a really hard clean touch to make. He does get a good contact, but it's quickly called carry and an active call by the observing team.
It's true.
Or
That's
I should
another
say
break.
squad, not observing team. But
Yeah. Observing squad.
just to differentiate from the teams that are actually playing right now. And Murthy's set there,
Man.
also a carry. The ball kind of stuck on his hand, not a full strike.
Yeah.
And just like that, they're serving 13-14. All of a sudden, they're down, I believe, is that 17-13? So, 4-point deficit.
Right.
Staring down. They've only lost 5 individual games this year. They could lose their 6th right here. That's
Yeah.
double clutch.
Yeah. Yeah, they
A
are.
wild statistic over 3 tournaments, having only lost 5 games to date. They're looking to not make it any more than 5 today, but
Right.
They just have to clean things up right now.
I think they do, and I think this is going to be the true test of how clutch they really are.
Yeah.
Because
They're
it's the
gonna
end of the game.
They need to be more than just single clutch.
Yeah, absolutely. Or, I don't know, zero clutch.
Right
We
now,
need to
right,
see the
yeah,
double
right
clutch
now,
right
now
now.
they might be unclutch. Yeah, they're not making the plays they need to, and you know, two Bondi and Hornock credit absolutely fantastic players. They're putting on really high pressure, quality serves to get them in a tough spot.
That's very true. And Bondi and Hornock also are looking very clean. Yeah, which is it's hard to serve or hard to play against players that are looking really clean, because you kind of know that you have to play your absolute best, put your best serve on in order to shake them up.
Right. We talked a little bit about the height. You said it's like one of the shorter pro teams here in double clutch, and how Bondi and Hornock have just been playing clean and putting on good serves anyway. That same factor where you're playing a team like Bondi and Hornock that are playing clean, that mental factor of we have to play perfect, we have to keep up, we have to make all these fantastic serves, that can kind of chip away at you just mentally. Just you need to stay focused, continue to play your game, and make your serves. Because double clutch has the skills, but right now they have not executed. And you see that's just a frustration too from Hinkle. He knows he could set up Murthy just fine, but Murthy's happy to let Frederick take that one out on the ball, get it back in his hands here, 14-17.
Yeah. And this is the sort of moment where Hinkle's brain is probably thinking about how much he needs this point. And there you saw 2 points that he just absolutely wailed away on. He swung so hard, which, you know, could get an ace, but also we just saw it led to a double fault.
Right, that and then trying to force it, is he maybe trying to force too much? It's hard to say exactly how that's playing out. Bondi with a quick release, goes lefty, but it's off rim. And another one off the rim. So another chance to come up for air here for Murthy, but they need to execute. Down 15-18.
Let's see what he can do with his second serve. Yeah, there's another double fault for double clutch, which is exactly what they don't need if they really want to make this comeback, to make this a game and potentially a 3-game series.
First one's over Rahul's shoulders.
Wow, second one is a clean serve, but very, very clean offense from double clutch. All right, we need an on serve right now from Hinkle. Right. Looks like we had a big, big ace from Hinkle. Step one in the right direction.
A little bit of a jam on the reverse. Calls carry on Hornock's left hand, or maybe high.
I think
it's hard to make out all the words.
Carry. Yeah, they're bringing all 3 observers in to make a call on this play. The 3 observers are watching from 3 different angles and can really help to clarify disagreements.
Try to figure out a good view on that attempt to strike the ball by Hornock. Hornock, of course, getting kind of jammed by his left hand. That touch ruled clean. It's going to be championship point here for Joe Bondi, serving at Rahul Murthy. That one high.
Yep.
Steps out wide. That one also just high.
All right, Murthy with the serving opportunity here, serving 18-20.
That second serve.
Yeah.
It always feels a little different. And it hits different.
Wow. The crowd is hyped, and so are we. That was an incredible, incredible serve.
The only one that really matters is the one at 19-20, though. This is one you need. Otherwise, still championship point. And I'll say it. Botch set there.
Oh my
A botch set by
Lord.
Joe Bondi trying to recover for Garrett Hornock. We're getting extra points here. It's 2020.
I am seeing single clutch right now. Rahul Murthy is looking fire with these serves. This is exactly what double clutch needed.
Puts another one in play. It's high. He tells Murthy to go, but it's pushed by Bondi through the gap. Right, they came up for air though. They got the tie they needed. They're still down the advantage. Hornock still has championship point. This is the third championship point that they'll have for Bondi Hornock so far. It's rimmed. Hinkle wants to play it, of course, but that's no good.
No good.
Murthy just practicing his foot sets, cash.
Cash.
Yeah. And a no-touch reverse cut ace on double clutch. Frederick Hinkle, no shot at receiving that one.
Wow.
What a fantastic play.
That was absolutely absurd. Hornock, he just answered back with a no-touch ace of his own to claim the game and the tournament.
What a fantastic match. So Bondi Hornock dropped one game all weekend en route to a fantastic tour stop victory. Hinkle and Murthy pushed them to the edge in game 2. Game 1 also they pushed them really close, but it was too little too late. They drop their second tour stop in a row. That's the 6th game they've lost this year. So still pretty good record. They beat up on a lot of teams, but they gotta play out that match. Getting word from our team here that Gabe Funaki and Addison Powers did beat Ryan Oswald and Warren Foote in the 3rd place match. Why am I telling you this? Well, first of all, that means that they got at least 3rd place, but also because they're from the same semifinal, the 1st place and 3rd place teams that is, we're going to see a true second matchup between Double Clutch and Gabe Funaki and Addison Powers. They're going to get to challenge them for the right to play for that 2nd place position. That'll be the pro bid, which is really for bragging rights because neither team needs a pro bid, but also for a little bit of cash money. We're gonna be right back with a quick interview. We're gonna try to get Joe Bondi on the mic here, talk about that fantastic showing. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, welcome back. I am here with Joe Bondi. He just won the Richmond Tour Stop 2021. Congrats on your big win. That was huge. It was so much fun to watch. Was it fun to play?
Yeah, it was so fun. It was honestly one of my favorite tournaments I've played so far.
Yeah.
Garrett is just going to give me a perfect set every time, and that's a pretty fun partner to play with.
Yeah. Have you ever played with him before?
I have not.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what made you guys decide to play together?
That's a good question. We were going to play the Kentucky Cash Out, but then my sister actually had a wedding, so I couldn't go. But I don't know. I was just like, he looks really fun to play with.
Yeah.
We both have kind of similar demeanors, so.
Yep, I kind of saw that. Similar height, similar demeanors.
Yeah.
And yeah, it obviously worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what do you think was the difference for you guys playing against Double Clutch? What was the reason that made you guys come out on top?
I think Fred and Rahul hadn't really seen my serves a lot, and that was really helpful for us. And then Garrett was really good at receiving them.
Yeah.
So I think that made the difference.
Yeah, okay. And you guys obviously didn't drop many games all day. Was it just one? You dropped one game all day?
Yeah.
Including yesterday as well.
Yeah.
And was that the story of the whole tournament for you guys, serves, or was it also defense?
It was a lot of serves and a lot of Garrett giving me perfect recovery sets and perfect receives.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Garrett just doesn't really make mistakes, and that makes it hard to lose.
Yeah, unreal. And Double Clutch, I believe, is power ranked number 3 in the nation, potentially the world. So that's an absolutely huge win.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you pumped?
Really fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Up next, we have the true second match. So stick around. We'll be right back.